Chapter 17. Get Her Back.
The morning finally came, and Taylor was as prepared as he could be. Although he had gotten no sleep that night, all the details had been done early in the night. He had spent the night pacing and watching over Austin and Nathan, not really doing much of anything, just watching the moments crawl by, drinking coffee with the others in the kitchen. He had to admit that he had gotten to know a lot more about the others. Now it was finally and thankfully time for action. Walked out to the cars that they had already gotten ready before. 2 SUVs were packed with the diversion crew. Josh and Taylor had loaded into Nathan's sports car with the gear they needed. They jumped in and drove out into the city. Ashley wanted desperately to go with them, but in the end she had seen the wisdom in staying. Now she debated that choice yet again as she watched them pull out into the street. "Get her back, Taylor," she whispered under her breath. They drove directly to their planned spots. Taylor and Josh were ready to go when the diversion went off. The first SUV rolled up past the gate and up the street a bit. The other SUV, in contrast, stormed in and crashed into the gate. Jenny got out of the crashed SUV and ran back to the other SUV. When the group of guards had almost gotten to him, they sped away into the day. 2 cars followed the SUV. They sped around the hills. They were desperately trying to lose them. He spun out straight into the other, sending it spinning as well. They both slid off the embankment and totaled both vehicles. They punched the gas, made 3 quick turns. When they felt like they were gone, they headed to the freeway. Soon they were on their way home, to wait. Taylor and Josh moved to the wall. When the SUV crashed into the gate, they quickly scaled the wall, dropping into the yard. The diversion had worked. Nightshade were running all over the grounds, but all towards the gate. There were 2 guards that kept their post at the back entrance. Taylor came up along the side of one of them and quickly subdued him. The other was barely able to react before Josh and then also Taylor were on him. Working together, they subdued the second one. They pulled the guards behind some shrubs and then entered the house. They snuck around, trying to stay one step ahead of the Nightshade. They checked a bunch of doors, each one a risk. Fortunately, they did not see more than the back of a Nightshade running away from them. Taylor cracked the door and finally saw Tricia. 2 Nightshades stood guard, and they both saw that door open. Josh was barely able to get into the room before Taylor had ripped through the Nightshade. He stormed through the door and planted his palm in the chest of the first. He flew 10 feet into the far room of the wall. After he impacted, he slid to the floor. The second tried to attack Taylor, but Taylor grabbed his arm and turned it at such an angle it snapped. The vampire tried to let out a scream, but Taylor cut it short with his knee as it impacted into the side of the guard's head. He went to the chair. He untied Tricia, and she fell into him. "I knew you'd come," she said. Taylor felt relieved, but anger flared in him more than it ever had before. They had been rough on her. Taylor hugged her close. She held on to him tightly. "We need to go," Josh said. Taylor picked Tricia up and raced to the door. They were about to step out the back door into their escape when a rich voice came behind them. "You're not going," the vampire said. "Go," Taylor said, handing Tricia to Josh. He grabbed her and needed no more instruction. He bolted out the door and made for the back wall. Taylor desperately wanted to watch them clear the wall and get out of there, but for now he had to focus on the new threat. He turned on his heel to face him. "So you're the thorn in my side," the vampire said very dramatically. "Well, aren't you a walking stereotype?" Taylor snapped, the anger overpowering his voice. There may have been a way Taylor could have gone with Josh and Tricia. However, he had had enough of the Nightshade. Now they would know who he was. "You will regret that." Although he had not anticipated Taylor having this much power, he had been around some of the oldest, most powerful, and he'd never felt anything like it. "Bring it on," Taylor snapped back. The vampire's eyes were enraged. He jumped towards Taylor. Both of them crashed through the bay windows and out the patio onto the back. Josh had almost got to the back wall when 2 Nightshades cut him off. He flipped Tricia into a fireman carry and charged at the 2. They were a bit taken aback by the move, After all, they had rarely been challenged in the past. The momentum and surprise worked enough to Josh's advantage to blow through the first, but the second got a hold of his ankle as he barreled through. With a sickening snap, Josh pulled his foot free and stomped it down on the vampire's neck. He got to the wall and pulled himself and Trisha over the top. He got Trisha loaded into the car. He hopped into the driver's seat and started the car. "Can't go without Taylor," Trisha croaked. "Taylor said you would say that," Josh said as he slammed the car into gear and took off down the road. They pulled into the mansion, Josh breathing a sigh of relief. The one SUV was there already. All the rest of the group ran around the car to help them out. Josh got out as they helped Trisha out. "We have to go get him," she said. "Where is Taylor?" Ashley asked Josh, fear in her eyes. Josh laid a comforting hand on Ashley's shoulder. "He got into a fight," Josh said. "He knew it was going to happen. He'll be back," Josh reassured. Taylor had prepped him for all of this. Josh had great faith in Taylor before going in with him. However, now that he'd seen him in action, he had full faith in him. "Taylor will be fine. I think he wanted the Nightshade to learn something before he left." With that, he went into the mansion. They all tried to have faith in Taylor, although other than Josh, everyone else had their doubts. Trisha was getting stronger and stronger. She sat with Ashley waiting. "Jesus, Ash, I don't know if I can lose him," Trisha said. "I think he'll be okay. I mean, let's be honest. Even at full power, you and Josh still pale in comparison to Taylor's power. I think that this Thrank guy is right. Taylor is something pretty damn special." Ashley did her best to comfort her friend. "Well, I know he's pretty special to me," Trisha replied. "I know, and he does too. I think he knows what he's doing," Ashley reassured. Across the city, the other Nightshade had gathered around the fight, although the vampire waved them back. Taylor and the main vampire squared off against each other. Taylor was in the middle of blocking blows when he realized that the odds were starting to get out of hand. He started to look for a way out. "You cannot beat me, but even if you could, do you plan to take on all of us?" the vampire sneered at him. "I don't have to," Taylor said. He bashed through two Nightshades and they both fell to the ground as Taylor ran past them. Then he ran for the wall, with vampires hot on his heels. Taylor jumped the back wall in one leap. The vampire kept up with him, but the other Nightshades were not able to. When the vampire finally caught up with Taylor, it was a few blocks away. Taylor fell to the ground and turned just in time to catch the vampire on top of him. He felt the bloodlust rushing over him from the vampire. He threw him off and got to his feet. The vampire caught himself and swung around at Taylor enraged. Taylor, however, had anticipated the move. He sidestepped him, grabbed him by the shoulder, then slammed the vampire into the cement wall. There was a cracking sound as many bones broke. The vampire fell at his feet. He mumbled something, but it was inaudible. Taylor saw his opportunity and ran off into the day. About a block away, he had stolen a motorcycle and started his ride back. About an hour later, he arrived at the mansion, making sure he was not followed. He ditched the bike and made his way to Nathan's. When he walked up the stairs and opened the door, he walked up behind Trisha and looked over the back of the chair. "Hey, how you feeling?" he asked at her, smiling. She let out a small scream and jumped into his arms. "Now I am just fine," Trisha said. She hugged him close as the tears appeared in her eyes. Ashley also had tears in her eyes. They kissed for a full minute before they turned back to the rest of the group. "Sorry, guys," Trisha said, glowing red with embarrassment. "I'm not," Taylor smiled. They spent the rest of the afternoon alone, talking, mostly Taylor asking her repeatedly if she was all right. The fifth time Taylor asked, "Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know what it is, but the whole time I knew you would come. I mean, Lugosi was a nut, and I was scared. But there was always this voice inside of me that told me to hold on and that you were coming," Trisha said and gave him a kiss. "Well, who the hell was that guy, anyway?" "I don't know. And I don't know if he's trying to scare me, but he said that the Nightshade are not just in L.A. He acted like they were all over," Trisha replied. "Maybe we should tell Ashley that we should just get out of here," Trisha said. Taylor was a bit shocked. "You mean that?" Taylor asked. No, I think we have to fight, but a part of me wants to run away with you to some place we can be safe. Something nice and quiet, Tricia replied. But you're right, our place is here. Taylor kissed her again. You're sure you're okay? Taylor asked again. Tricia hit him in the chest. Yes, for the billionth time. She replied. Hey, you two lovebirds, you want some dinner? Jenny asked, poking her head through the door. Yeah, that sounds good, Taylor replied. Jenny ducked out, and Taylor went to get up, but Tricia just smiled at him. What? He asked her. She just called us lovebirds, Tricia said. Yeah, does that make you uncomfortable? Taylor asked. No, not at all. Makes me very happy, Tricia replied with a smile. Well, I wish we could have had a bit cooler names, but I guess lovebirds will have to do, Taylor joked. You're something pretty special, Taylor, Tricia said, looking into his deep eyes. Yeah, everyone keeps telling me that. But the thing is that I think you're the special one. I'm really glad you're okay. You're okay, right? Taylor said, joking. She got up and slapped him in the chest. Just 'cause you're special doesn't mean you can be an ass, Tricia said, laughing. Yes, it does. That's the whole point of being special, Taylor said, and wrapped his arm around her and led her inside. They ate, and the conversation and mood was light. Everyone smiled as Ashley offered a toast. To the lovebirds. Oh, there go our cool nicknames, Tricia whispered to Taylor. This one's starting to grow on me, he replied.